Hi everybody, Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. But today I'm coming to you from Gallery Renee Marie in Benicia, California. So I've been here all day watching the gallery and playing. Here's the piece, the collage piece that I worked on today. Very fun little town kind of a collage. Lots of scrapbook paper and cardboard and things like that. I made different layers. There's a background layer and then there's a middle layer. Guess I should hold it up to show you. There's a background layer and then there's a middle layer and then there's a thicker layer of the little buildings and houses. Very fun. What I have to say was really different about today is I brought you along on my first process. So I just laid it out there. I made some mistakes. Not really mistakes, I just changed my mind. I tried a few things, and for me, art is always working in the solution, feeling what feels right, and then adjusting it so that so I can live with it. Because some things I can't live with in my art. They drive me crazy. So I'm taking you along on the process today. So tighten your seatbelt, baby. You're in for a bumpy ride. Okay, see you on the table.
All right, I went to bed last night hating this piece. Oh, so I didn't sleep very well. But I am up this morning playing with it, knowing that I could not make a video on this piece until I fixed a few things, and to me it was just too plain. So what I did this morning is I got up and I got my doodle pen and I got my white paintbrush, or my white paint pen, still asleep, sorry, and I finished the piece. So what I have to say is this was quite an adventure for me to do this for the first time on screen. And we did it. So my suggestions for next time: make your buildings smaller, your rectangles and your triangles smaller so that you can see more of the yummy sky, and just have fun with it. Okay, I'm gonna go grab my coffee and I'm gonna have a great day. How about you? Go play, go create, go play, go have fun. I'll see you next time. Thanks for allowing me to be real on the screen. I love you guys. Okie dokie, let's go over our supplies for today. We're gonna need a brush. I love my brush, by the way. Mod Podge, not Mudge Podge, Mod Podge. Gesso, a brayer, your scissors, a doodle pen, white paint pen, your Stabilo, a pile of underpants, old book pages, dictionary pages, music sheet pages, things like that. Substrate, nice and small so you can see it on the screen, hopefully. Bits and gibbles. You're looking more for color than for images on these. Watercolor paint. This is Prang. It's just something that I have laying around. I'm going to go with the blue, hoping there's enough blue in there. Some fun scrapbook scrapbook paper. Tongue twister this morning. And some cardboard. Various thicknesses of cardboard. Some thicker and some thinner. Because as we build the houses, I would like to have some more forward than others. So I have various thicknesses of the cardboard. And my handy dandy Teflon sheet, which allows me to clean up my mess as I go. And I am going to use my heat gun today so that we can dry and go. So I'll see if I can stay in the center of the camera today. That would be nice. All right, I'm going to grab my substrate and my underpants, and I'm just going to start gluing my underpants onto my substrate with my Mod Podge and my new favorite brush. And I do want to leave enough underpants around that I can wrap my substrate. So it's just a matter of grabbing a piece of book page and gluing it down so that there's enough overhang to wrap it around the substrate. And I'm just going to go around and fill up my substrate with some yummy underpants. You know how to do this. All right, my underpants are on this side. They're mostly dry. And what if you have wrinkles in your underpants? Well, it sounds like a discomfort, but I tell you what, we call it texture. All right, I welcome those wrinkles because they will pick up the paint and things later on in the project. All right, let's flip this over and just give it a little wrap. I'll start this and then you can go play. So I just put Mod Podge on the paper and also on my substrate. Being mindful to be on the screen. Being mindful. That's my word of the day. Mindful. And then just wrap it. Okay, so I have it wrapped. All right. There it is with the underpants on it. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab those little bits and gibbles that I picked for color. These are torn pieces. For this piece, I want them to stick down a little flatter. And what I'm going to do in the top 3/4 of the piece, I'm just going to randomly glue down some of these bits and pieces. And again, they are just for the color. They will, of course, create texture too, but it's the color that I'm after in these little bits. And I don't want the white edge so much on these pieces, so I'm tearing what I want towards me to eliminate that white edge. All right, that is, we're going to call that pretty perfect. One more little piece right there. Okay, now it's perfect. All right, this doesn't really have to dry at this stage. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my gesso. All right, I have a smudge of gesso right here on my workspace. And here's my piece. What I want to say is it's important that this is sealed with the Mod Podge because we're going to use watercolor on it, and I want the Mod Podge to act as a resist. I don't want the watercolor to soak into the page. And I'm going to apply some gesso to my brayer. And I'm just going to apply some to my yummy, yummy piece already. Still want to see some of the underpants, some of the color, but I like the tooth that the gesso gives to the watercolor. Okay, I'm going to call that good. I'm going to dry this And then we're going to add the watercolor and the alcohol. Did I tell you to get alcohol? I did not. Grab your dropper of alcohol. Now what we're doing to this piece is we're actually creating the sky for our little houses. But I'm going to add the blue throughout the whole substrate. And I'm grabbing water and watercolor. Blue, 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 blue. Now if you've watched me before, you know that I use the same brush all day long, my Mod Podge. If I'm brushing gesso on, I use this for the gesso. If I'm watercoloring, I use this for my watercolor paints. All right, so what we're doing here is we're looking for something nice and juicy. Lots of water, but lots of color too. You can really get an intense color with the watercolors if you concentrate on that. Just nice and juicy. This is such a fun technique. Hope you've played with it. Nice and moist, because it's the water that reacts with the alcohol. Lots of color, because we want some good definition in there. And while that's quite wet, snap shut, I'm going to grab my alcohol dropper, and I'm just going to start dropping some alcohol on that nice wet watercolor. And for me, this kind of creates some cloud activity on the piece. Yes, you could just do the top for the sky, but why stop there? Yeah, now that's fun. All right, I'm going to let this dry naturally for a little while, and then I can hit it with the heat stick. But don't hit it with the heat stick right now because it'll move the paint around too much. Okay, so here is our gorgeous background with our underpants and a few pieces of colored images and some gesso and some watercolor, juicy watercolor with drops of alcohol. That kind of created some clouds in the sky. This is the bottom of the piece. Most of this will be covered, but since we had the fun watercolor on there anyway, it's kind of fun to play with the alcohol. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take that scrapbooking paper, and I cut the pieces down to a more workable size for me. And what I'm going to do is bring some of the cardboard in of the various textures and thickness, and I'm going to cut these again in half and put half on a thin piece and half on a thick piece, just with my Mod Podge. So I'll put Mod Podge on here, and then I'll just take half of that scrapbook paper like this. And with Mod Podge, I'll glue some of it on here and then some of it on a thin piece so that we have different levels going on. And then I will just use this piece and put more scrapbooking paper on it. I will just use up this entire piece of cardboard, and I have another piece under it that I will add to. So let me glue those things on, and I'll bring you back and show you what I... So I'm going to chat with you for a couple minutes while I'm gluing this down. I started this project at home, but today is my day to watch the gallery, Gallery Renee Marie in downtown Benicia, California. And so I gathered up all my goodies, and I came to the gallery, and of course I got here and I did not have my brush. So there's my brushes today. And you know what? They work just fine. So I put Mod Podge in this bottle. It helps me be able to travel with it and not spill it all over with a loose lid. And so I'm just taking these pieces and I'm gluing them down on this thickness. I have some others here under the desk. These are on a thickness of cardboard like this. These are on a thickness And then after that, I will glue some to the thinner ones. So all of this will become self-explanatory. Using my ever handy ha-ha fingers for my brush. I want to say thank you to everyone that's leaving comments because YouTube loves them. I love hearing from you on Facebook as well, but Facebook doesn't make any money for me, and it doesn't count my messages the way that YouTube does. So if you could leave the comments on YouTube, that helps my numbers. And some of you are sharing this with your friends. Thank you so much for that. I really, really, really appreciate it. All right, this is going to be my last piece on this thick cardboard, and then I'm going to go to the thin cardboard. And the thin cardboard, sometimes I use like cereal boxes, not that we ever eat cereal, but cracker boxes and things like that, so it's nice and thin. Okay, good, good, good. I guess I don't have to wash my brush. Okay, we will be working with 3 different levels on this piece, 3 different levels of houses or buildings. And one of the levels, the back level, will be just scrapbooking paper. It won't have any dimension to it. Then the next layer forward is going to be the thinnest cardboard that we have. All right, these are all relatively the same. It doesn't matter if they're a little bit different. And then the very front buildings, houses, will be on the thicker cardboard. All right, so I have all of those stuck together, glued on, yay. And now I am going to start making some buildings. So I'm going to bring my substrate back in and kind of figure out how tall I can make these buildings and how wide I can make them. Oh, this is going to be so fun. So I'm going to make some of them about this wide. Now this would be the lowest, the back section, all right, because this would not have any dimension behind it. So I'm going to just cut some in random sizes here. And we will need some rooftops, right? So let's cut some triangles. See if that's too small for that one. That's okay. We'll cut one smaller. Something like that. Now that's fun. All right, some of the tall buildings, like this one, can actually be just more of a flat roof. Something like this. All right, I'm going to cut the triangles out of the flat pieces and some rectangles, and then I'm going to go to the medium thickness. So we'll call this the thinnest thickness. Just the scrapbooking paper. Medium thickness, I'll cut some rectangles and triangles out in that, and then I'll go to the very thickest, and I'll bring you back and show you what I've cut out. All right, I've been playing around with the first layer, which is the scrapbook paper with no cardboard on the back. I glued a few pieces on here to just create a window. I'll set that aside so I can show you. And then I also glued a little bit of something, just a scrap that was laying around. I think it's the other half of that triangle that I cut up. And I glued that onto the top of the building. On this one, I just made like a chimney, fun little flat top on there. On this one, I'm going to glue that on there with my Mod Podge and my handy dandy brush.
on my handy dandy Teflon sheet so I don't make a mess here at Gallery Renee Marie. So that creates a different look for that building. And then this building, I took a piece of scrapbook paper and just put it on the edge there. So since there are other layers that are going to be going on here, I don't have to worry about that building going to the bottom of the substrate. So I had them placed. We'll place them again. That'll be different this time. It'll be fun. And I'm going to glue these pieces down onto my substrate. I will start with this piece because this is behind everything else. All right, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We'll see how it turns out. Because my memory is about to change everything as we go. Start off with one plan, end up with another completely. All right, I think it was about in here. This is how precise we are going to be, right? Picking up a little bit of blue watercolor there. Perfect, I'd say. And I think this one was next. Someplace in here. We'll put the Mod Podge on the scrapbook paper to prevent that watercolor from moving around again. Don't need that. And we'll put you about right there. Grabbing a piece of paper towel. Let's put it down with the paper towel so we don't get that watercolor on our scrapbook paper anymore. And I'll glue this one down and this one down, and then we're going to come back, move on to the next layer of buildings. All right, now we're going to go to our second layer, which is the scrapbook paper on the thinner cardboard. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut out the triangles, rectangles. This is kind of a fun wonky one. Couldn't resist this. And I have a couple more of these that I'm going to cut out, and then we'll go on to the thicker ones. All right, I've had a chance to kind of visit with this piece and bond with it a little bit. It's dry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my Stabilo in, and I'm going to go ahead and Stabilo these edges. I think that after I get the next layer on, it will be too hard to get in here and Stabilo some of these edges, so I want to go ahead and do that now. So these are cut pieces, so we know that it's a little bit harder to get in close with the cut pieces. And if you saw the last video, I played around with the Q-tip, and that was pretty gosh darn successful. So I think I'm going to bring the Q-tip in on this project as well. Now we don't have to go all the way down because the next pieces, but I don't know where the next pieces are going to lie yet. Maybe I'll just go all the way down. There we go. Doesn't hurt. There we go. And then I'm just going to take that Q-tip that has a little bit of moisture on the end of it, and I'm going to go around these buildings. Shadow that in. Oh, I can still get my fingers in there. That's
That makes me a happy girl. All right, I'm just going to do this around all of these little nooks and crannies. How fun is that? Oh, sorry, got to do this edge. Good old-fashioned way there, sorry. Oh yeah, this is very fun. All right, now I've gone to the second layer and cut a few things out. And we will place those on together. And let's see, we've got a shorter building with a rooftop, a wonky building with a wonky top. Ha! Wonky top. That's very funny. And then a taller building with kind of a sideways thing going on there. So let me play with the placement of these, and then we will glue them down. Now these guys are going to be a little bit more resistant to gluing down because they have this stiffer cardboard on the back. So it's going to take some patience. Look at that mod, or the Stabilo on there. Nice ooey gooey black Stabilo. Nobody's gonna see that. Alright, I'm gonna take that and put that down where I had it, approximately. And then this is where you're going to need your paper towel to really push it down. We might be sitting on this one, who knows? Now, being as these pieces are on cardboard, you really have to massage them down. Make sure that they stick down because they're a little bit more resistant than just the paper and the Mod Podge. And then what I did, of course, is I took the next piece of cardboard and I put it on my piece and I put it under my bum and I sat on it. I'm going to continue doing that for a little while. I'm going to sit on my piece. Okay, this is nice and stuck down, of course. With me sitting on it, how could it help it be stuck down? And I'm going to go ahead and Stabilo these edges. And you know how to do that. So I'll turn the camera off while I finish this so you don't get bored. Don't want that. Okay, I got all of my edges Stabiloed, and I'm going to go in here and just with a marker pen, just have some fun with some windows up in here, maybe some dots. Something like this, very playful. You can also use cutout paper like we did back here someplace. This is just a very light-hearted, whimsical piece. Not too much thought behind it. And just have fun kind of doodling on it. Oh boy, what have I started here? Okay, that's good for starters. We're going to put one last layer of buildings or houses on, and it's with our thickest cardboard. So we'll see how pieces come together, and then we're going to just fool around with it some more. Let's glue some more buildings down, huh? So these are the pieces of cardboard that are thicker, and these are going to be the last dimension on our piece.
So I'm going to just cut some triangles and some rectangles and get ready to glue them on our piece as the final layer. Pretty darn fun, huh? Pretty darn fun. Okay, welcome back. This is the last layer of the cardboard. It's the thick layer of the cardboard with the scrapbooking paper on the top. I really, really like the look of it. It's very fun. It's not glued on yet. I just have them kind of perched there. What I don't like is the drawn on windows. That's doing absolutely nothing for me. So I'm going to go back in with the scrapbook paper, and I'm going to embellish the buildings with the scrapbook paper versus the drawing. So, you know, this is what happens when I bring you along on my process. You get to see the messy, messy process as it happens. But if I were to take something like this, if I can find my scissors, take something like this, where it has these fun letters, you know, even that is more fun to me than those hand-drawn letters or hand-drawn windows. So I'm going to go in here and, do you want to watch me for a minute? Could be fun. Could be fun. Ooh, this is kind of fun. Let's do this. Cut exactly straight, as you can see. A little smaller than that. But this is going to have more life for me than the drawn-in windows. Those do Zippo for me. So that's more fun there. You know, I've got some letters over here. Let's try a letter in that next building, huh? Okay, too big. I just was thinking it should say IHOP. Well, there's that sense of humor. Who can say? All right, and I am looking. All right, so, yeah. I am off screen, I know. Chopping up some paper, I know. Right back. Oh yeah. So that, to me, has more personality. All right, I'm going to play with these windows. All of this stuff. I'm going to play with all of this stuff. All right, crisis is over. I can once again live with this piece. I'm going to stabilo around the papers that I've added. I just couldn't take the doodled windows and such. Just couldn't do it. I tried. That's what happens when I invite you along on my process. It's messy. So I'm just going to stabilo the new papers that I just put down. Invite them to integrate with the piece. I'm going to smudge these. You know how to do that. And then I'm going to bring the last layer in, which is the thickest layer. Something like this. This will have a little something something on the top of it. I just don't know what. So let me smudge my stabilo, glue these guys down, and then we will come back. All right, let's glue the last little pieces on. I know some of you like to watch the process a little bit. You have seen a whole lot of process today. You have really stepped into my inner circle today. I have this piece glued down and this piece glued down. I'm just gluing down the little triangles, the little roofs right now. Then I'm going to put a cute piece of cardboard on it. I'm going to sit on it again. Yes, I am. And then when that's all flattened, we will visit the piece again. I'm sure there's going to be more to happen. I want to add some little doorways, windows to this section. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at this. This is not glued down. These are still all loose. But I have been monkeying around with this scrap paper and monkeying around with this scrap paper, and this is what I've decided to do. All of these loose pieces, I'm going to glue those down, and then I'm going to Stabilo and probably add a little bit of embellishment, maybe with the Sharpie, maybe with the white paint pen, maybe with the white paintbrush. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and glue these little puppies down. All right. Here we are. I just grunged it up a little bit with my good old-fashioned Stabilo technique. A little bit of moisture in my Stabilo, and I really grunged up the piece. It's so fun. Dragged you along on my process. I hope it wasn't too hard on you. Seemed like it was fun for me. A little different for me, bringing you along on the entire thing. Being vulnerable enough to do that. Pretty interesting. All right, I'm going to make the intro piece now. Oh, this is fun. That is very fun. There is a lot going on. Very fun. All right, go create, go play, go have fun.